Listen closely. The greatest changes never arrive with noise. They arrive as a feeling, a quiet pressure inside the chest, a subtle pull that refuses to disappear. This is how God speaks, not after a season shifts, but before it moves, not through chaos, but through awareness. Many people miss this moment. They wait for signs in the outer world. They wait for certainty, proof, permission. Yet divine guidance rarely announces itself loudly. It arrives as restlessness, as clarity that disrupts comfort, as a sense that the current path no longer fits the soul. I am Shi Heng Yi. In this message, a hidden spiritual pattern will unfold. You will understand why this inner calling appears long before life changes on the surface. You will learn how God prepares the mind before altering circumstances. You will recognize the difference between fear and guidance. Most importantly, you will discover why ignoring this feeling leads to stagnation, while honoring it opens the next season. This teaching matters deeply now. A major transition approaches. Those who recognize the call early move with grace. Those who dismiss it feel forced later through exhaustion, loss, or pressure. The signal always comes first. The shift follows later. A truth rarely spoken must be revealed. God does not rush the unprepared. He refines quietly. He shapes character before destiny. He speaks softly so only the attentive respond. Silence is the test. Awareness is the key. Remain until the end. The final insight reveals how alignment becomes natural rather than forced. Confusion dissolves. Direction sharpens. The calling becomes clear. Welcome to Shaolin Divine Flow. This is a space for discipline, awareness, and higher alignment. Subscribe to the channel and continue this path with us, calmly, consciously, and with purpose. Pay attention now. Something fundamental is shifting. The energy of 2026 does not move like previous years. This is not a continuation of unfinished stories. This is a crossing point, a line between who you were required to be and who you are being prepared to become. Most years invite adjustment. This one demands transition. Old cycles reach completion, whether recognized or not. Patterns that once sustained progress lose their power. Roles that felt natural begin to feel heavy. This is not decline. This is closure. Life begins signaling that repetition will no longer produce growth. A threshold year works differently. It does not ask for more effort. It asks for accuracy. Direction becomes more important than speed. Intention outweighs ambition. This is why confusion may rise for some. The familiar no longer works, yet the new assignment has not fully revealed itself. 2026 carries the weight of reassignment. Certain paths quietly dissolve. Certain responsibilities release their grip. Not through drama, but through inner clarity. The mind begins rejecting what once felt acceptable. Tolerance decreases. Discernment sharpens. This inner resistance is not rebellion, it is guidance. Many attempt to drag old identities into a new season. This creates friction. A threshold year refuses compromise. It insists on alignment. What no longer matches the inner direction begins falling away on its own. Conversations change. Priorities shift. The soul demands honesty. New assignments do not arrive loudly. They form gradually through attention, discipline, and awareness. The pull toward meaning strengthens. The need for purpose deepens. Success without alignment loses its appeal. This is how transition begins before the outer world responds. 2026 carries responsibility rather than reward. Those who sense this early adjust smoothly. Those who resist feel pressured later. A threshold year does not punish. It reveals, it exposes what is complete and prepares the ground for what must begin. Notice the restlessness, the unease that appears without a clear reason. This inner pressure is often misunderstood. Many attempt to escape it, distract from it, or label it as failure. Yet this sensation is not a problem. It is a signal, a sign that the current environment can no longer contain the person you are becoming. Dissatisfaction rises when growth outpaces structure. The mind begins rejecting routines that once felt safe. Conversations feel shallow, repetition feels heavy. This is not ingratitude, it is evolution. The inner world expands first, and the outer world struggles to keep up. Pressure increases when identity shifts. The old season was built for a previous version of you. Remaining there requires shrinking awareness. The soul resists this contraction. It creates friction to prompt movement. Comfort fades not to punish, but to guide. Many mistake this phase as confusion. In truth, clarity is forming beneath the surface. The mind questions long-held beliefs. Prior goals lose meaning. Motivation shifts from approval to alignment. This transition is subtle, yet powerful. Attempts to silence this feeling only intensify it. Distraction delays growth. Suppression creates exhaustion. The body, the mind, and the spirit work together to signal readiness. Listening restores balance. Resistance creates struggle. Inner pressure sharpens discernment. Tolerance lowers for misalignment. Boundaries form naturally. Energy becomes selective. This is not withdrawal, it is refinement. Attention moves toward what nourishes rather than drains. This stage requires courage. Movement without clarity feels uncomfortable. Yet remaining static feels heavier. This tension signals that the old season has completed its purpose. The foundation has been built. The next structure requires different materials. Those who recognize this moment begin adjusting internally. Habits change. Focus narrows. Discipline strengthens. Awareness deepens. This quiet preparation allows the transition to unfold without force, without chaos, and without regret. Across scripture and spiritual tradition, a consistent pattern appears. Elevation never arrives without preparation. Growth is never accidental. Before responsibility increases, refinement begins. This principle unfolds quietly, often misunderstood by those who expect immediate movement. Silence plays a crucial role. When external noise fades, internal truth becomes audible. Guidance sharpens. Motives reveal themselves. In silence, distractions fall away and intention becomes clear. This is where discipline forms, not through force, but through awareness. Delay is another teacher. Progress slows not to deny, but to strengthen. Patience matures vision. Timing aligns character with purpose. Rushing ahead creates imbalance. Waiting builds stability. Delay trains trust, endurance, and humility. Isolation often accompanies this phase. Not abandonment, but repositioning. Space forms between you and familiar influences. This separation allows clarity without interference. Identity stabilizes without external validation. Strength grows inward rather than outward. Many resist these stages. Silence feels uncomfortable. Delay feels unfair. Isolation feels lonely. Yet each one shapes resilience. Each one reveals internal alignment. The absence of movement becomes meaningful when viewed through awareness. Preparation works beneath visibility. Habits sharpen. Integrity strengthens. Emotional reactions soften. Discernment refines. This unseen work becomes the foundation for future responsibility. Without it, elevation would overwhelm rather than empower. Those who remain present during preparation gain steadiness. Attention deepens. Priorities realign. Discipline replaces impulse. Vision clarifies. These changes occur quietly, often unnoticed by others, yet profoundly transformative. This phase demands trust without reassurance. Growth continues even when progress seems invisible. The refining process builds capacity. What develops now ensures that when elevation arrives, it is sustained rather than temporary. Transformation always begins inward. External circumstances respond later. Before situations change, perception must shift. The mind is refined first because action follows thought. When thinking remains unchanged, new environments cannot be sustained. Habits reveal alignment. Small daily patterns expose readiness. God adjusts these quietly. Discipline strengthens. Awareness sharpens. Reactions soften. The desire for control gives way to clarity. This internal restructuring prepares the foundation for visible change. Identity follows thought and habit. When inner definition changes, choices change naturally. Old labels lose meaning. Self-concept expands. Behavior aligns without force. This shift feels subtle yet powerful. like standing differently without realizing it. Many expect outward movement as confirmation, yet spiritual growth often unfolds invisibly. Stability forms internally before opportunity appears externally. Without this order, growth collapses under pressure. Internal strength allows external responsibility. Resistance arises when the inner shift challenges comfort. Familiar behaviors feel restrictive. Old rewards lose appeal. This discomfort signals progress. The internal environment becomes incompatible with the old structure. Expansion requires release. God reshapes priorities quietly. Focus narrows. Attention refines. Energy directs itself toward purpose rather than distraction. This recalibration ensures clarity when change arrives. Confusion fades. Decision-making sharpens. This internal work cannot be rushed. Forced transformation lacks depth. Organic change becomes permanent. Each adjustment builds coherence between thought, action, and intention. Alignment stabilizes. When the inner world settles, the outer world responds naturally. Circumstances reorganize without struggle. Opportunities match readiness. Movement feels effortless because preparation has already occurred. The unseen work completes first, allowing the visible transition to unfold with precision and balance. As alignment deepens, separation begins naturally. Certain connections no longer resonate. Conversations lose depth. Shared direction fades. This is not conflict, it is divergence. Growth changes frequency and relationships respond accordingly. Separation is often misunderstood as rejection. In truth, it is refinement. Each season requires specific support. When purpose shifts, surrounding influences must adjust. This process unfolds quietly, without force or blame. Some relationships complete their role, others remain but transform. Distance forms where dependence once existed. Independence strengthens. Identity stabilizes without constant reinforcement. This space allows clarity to mature. Loss may be perceived, yet nothing essential disappears. What remains aligns. What falls away no longer supports forward movement. Attachment dissolves naturally when awareness increases. Resistance creates pain. Acceptance creates ease. Alignment reshapes social energy. Time becomes selective. Presence becomes intentional. Boundaries form without explanation. Respect for inner direction replaces obligation. This clarity protects focus. Many attempt to maintain old connections out of loyalty. Yet loyalty to growth must come first. Remaining tied to misalignment drains vitality. Separation restores strength. This phase requires trust. Silence may replace familiarity. Solitude deepens insight. Inner guidance grows clearer without external influence. This quiet independence strengthens discernment. New connections emerge later, matching the refined self. Shared values replace shared history. Mutual direction replaces convenience. These relationships support the next assignment without friction. Separation does not isolate, it aligns. It clears space for resonance. It ensures that when the new season fully arrives, support exists in harmony rather than resistance. As the new season approaches, responsibility becomes unavoidable. Expansion brings weight. Increased influence demands integrity. Blessings are not merely gifts, they are trusts. Each opportunity carries expectation. Each advancement requires steadiness. Accountability sharpens awareness. Choices matter more. Small decisions create larger impact. Intention must align with action. Carelessness becomes costly. Precision becomes essential. This shift signals readiness rather than restriction. Maturity reveals itself through consistency. Discipline replaces impulse. Focus outweighs distraction. Emotional reactions soften. Responses become measured. Strength expresses itself quietly through restraint and clarity. The new season tests character before rewarding effort. Capacity expands only where stability exists. Without discipline, growth collapses. With structure, expansion becomes sustainable. Responsibility refines leadership, whether over self or others. Clarity becomes non-negotiable. Purpose guides action. Distraction loses influence. Energy directs itself toward meaningful work. This clarity reduces conflict and conserves strength. Simplicity becomes powerful. Many desire the rewards of elevation without its demands. This imbalance creates struggle. True advancement strengthens accountability rather than escaping it. The weight of responsibility sharpens purpose. Self-governance becomes central. Time management improves. Priorities align naturally. Commitments are honored. This internal order supports external complexity. Order precedes influence. Responsibility also brings trust. God entrusts greater impact only where integrity is proven. Faithfulness in small matters expands capacity. Stability invites expansion. This season calls for presence. Awareness anchors action. Discipline sustains momentum. Clarity protects direction. Each responsibility strengthens readiness for what unfolds next. Pause. The world urges speed, yet this calling requires stillness. Stillness is not stagnation, it is positioning. The mind, the heart, the spirit all need alignment before movement begins. Rushing now would distort the blessing, scattering focus and diluting purpose. This moment is designed for reflection. Depth forms in quiet observation. Awareness sharpens. Patterns previously unnoticed become clear. The pace of life slows so discernment can expand. Each thought, each action, each choice gains clarity when anchored in presence. Impatience arises naturally. Desire for visible progress tempts action. Yet premature movement leads to imbalance. The blessing waits, not to test, but to protect. Positioning allows strength to consolidate, skills to mature, and focus to intensify. What appears as delay is actually preparation. Stillness cultivates intuition. The inner voice grows louder when the noise of haste fades. Subtle shifts in perception become visible. Lessons embedded in routine, relationships, and environment are revealed. What is overlooked in speed becomes obvious in patience. During this phase, energy is internalized. Attention turns inward, refining habits, thoughts, and intentions. The soul is trained in resilience and clarity. This positioning ensures that when action begins, it moves with precision and power rather than force and friction. Rushing now risks misunderstanding, misalignment, and missed opportunity. The right step at the wrong time often creates unnecessary struggle. Trust in the rhythm of preparation. Allow the season to shape you before stepping fully into it. The quiet period is a sacred phase. It builds capacity, cultivates discipline, and strengthens vision. Each day spent in thoughtful stillness compounds into readiness. Every pause fortifies the spirit, ensuring that the movement which follows flows effortlessly with clarity, purpose, and divine alignment. Preparation is not only spiritual, it is practical. God works through the ordinary, the daily actions, the small choices repeated over time. Discipline shapes the foundation. Consistency compounds. Focus directs energy with precision. Order creates stability. Integrity ensures that every step aligns with purpose. Every routine, no matter how simple, contributes to readiness. Rising with intention, speaking with honesty, managing time carefully. These practices may seem mundane, yet they form the framework for greater responsibility. Spiritual insight without practical application becomes fragile, like a seed unwatered in fertile soil. Consistency is the bridge between potential and manifestation. Repeating small, deliberate actions ingrains habits that withstand pressure. It strengthens character quietly, invisibly, yet powerfully. Focus, meanwhile, filters distractions. It teaches discernment, allowing attention to flow toward what matters most and away from what drains energy. Order structures life so that opportunity finds a prepared vessel. Chaos prevents clarity. When priorities align and actions follow a deliberate path, energy is preserved, momentum builds, and readiness emerges naturally. Integrity ties all of this together. Acting with honesty, faithfulness, and alignment ensures that when elevation arrives, it rests on a solid foundation rather than fragile ambition. Preparation is often hidden, unseen, and underappreciated. Most overlook the daily rituals that transform ordinary people into leaders, visionaries, and vessels for purpose. Yet God honors these steps. Each act of discipline, each moment of attention, each choice aligned with principle creates capacity for what is coming. The process demands patience, awareness, and persistence. Small victories compound over time. Invisible progress precedes visible success. Those who embrace practical preparation enter new seasons with confidence, clarity, and resilience, ready to carry responsibilities, blessings, and influence without faltering. Faith often asks for action before understanding. You are not meant to see everything yet. The path ahead remains partially hidden. Clarity arrives in stages, never all at once. The unknown is not a threat. It is a necessary space for growth, discernment, and alignment. Obedience comes before explanation. Moving in step with divine guidance, even when the outcome is unclear, builds trust and capacity. Each act of faith strengthens character, sharpens intuition, and expands readiness. Waiting for full understanding before action invites delay and stagnation. True progress begins when movement aligns with principle rather than certainty. The mind seeks answers, yet the heart already knows the direction. Subtle nudges, feelings of pull, inner pressure, all signal readiness for the next step. Trusting these cues without total comprehension transforms hesitation into confidence. Resistance diminishes when faith guides behavior rather than fear. Faith is also a practice, woven into daily life. It manifests in disciplined choices, in integrity, in focus on the small actions that prepare for the greater calling. Each deliberate step forward reinforces alignment, even when the outcome is invisible. Doubt may arise, questions may press, yet each moment of trust compounds into clarity. Obedience without understanding is the bridge between preparation and fulfillment. The unseen work builds resilience, fortifies character, and shapes a foundation that can carry greater responsibilities without collapse. Divine timing remains perfect. What is hidden now will be revealed in its proper moment. Faith carries you across the threshold, even when the full picture is unavailable. Moving with trust, even in uncertainty, ensures that the path unfolds smoothly, naturally, and without unnecessary struggle. Each step taken in faith prepares you to receive the season ahead with readiness, courage, and clarity. The past shapes experience, but it cannot dictate the future. You cannot carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's calling. What served you before may now limit you. Old beliefs, old fears, and outdated habits become obstacles when the next season requires expansion. Transformation demands release. Clinging to familiar patterns creates resistance. Comfort, while tempting, slows growth. Every attachment to the old season weighs down the spirit. Letting go is not loss. It is preparation. It clears space for new wisdom, new opportunities, and new responsibilities. Release begins internally. Thoughts, emotions, and expectations that no longer align with purpose must be examined. Forgiveness of self and others becomes essential. Regret, resentment, and hesitation dissolve when understanding deepens. This purification allows energy to flow freely toward what truly matters. Old identities die quietly. Roles once necessary lose relevance. The mind begins to reject compromise, the heart to resist misalignment. This discomfort is not punishment, it is an invitation. The soul signals readiness by creating tension where the past no longer serves. Transformation also requires courage. Stepping into the unknown demands trust in unseen guidance. The familiar feels safe, but growth emerges in the uncertain. Each release strengthens resilience, sharpens discernment, and enlarges capacity for what is next. Patterns repeat only when unaddressed. Breaking free from them opens new possibilities. Old limitations no longer constrain vision or action. What remains is a foundation purified by reflection, discipline, and insight. The process is both internal and active. Daily choices, attention to intention, and conscious alignment accelerate transformation. Letting go allows clarity to emerge. Space opens for the calling that is forming, and readiness builds quietly yet powerfully. Each step forward becomes lighter, more confident, and more attuned to the purpose waiting just ahead. Patience becomes essential when the heart desires movement. Trusting divine timing outweighs human urgency. What feels delayed is not denied. What feels slow is not stagnant. God's timing safeguards purpose, ensuring readiness before revelation. Rushing ahead often brings confusion, error, or misalignment. Human urgency pushes prematurely, seeking proof, approval, or comfort. Divine timing waits, observes, and orchestrates circumstances with precision. The delay is a shield, protecting potential from exposure before strength is sufficient. Every postponed opportunity carries wisdom. Lessons unfold in the waiting period. Character strengthens, discernment sharpens, and awareness deepens. What arrives early without preparation may falter. What comes precisely when aligned ensures endurance and impact. Trust requires surrender. It demands release of control, expectation, and comparison. Human schedules are limited. Divine orchestration spans dimensions unseen. The heart must remain attentive and patient, understanding that timing is as crucial as action. Signs of divine pacing often appear subtly. Open doors may close, paths may bend. Restlessness and reflection mark the rhythm. Recognizing these signals prevents frustration and encourages alignment. The soul adjusts to flow rather than force, allowing natural unfolding of purpose. Those who trust timing move with grace. Their steps are measured, not frantic. Energy preserves strength, vision remains clear, and decisions align with readiness rather than impulse. Opportunities, when they arrive, meet a prepared vessel rather than one forced ahead. What is delayed is refinement in action. What waits is preparation in disguise. Fate bridges the unseen gap between readiness and revelation. Trusting divine timing cultivates patience, strengthens resilience, and ensures that each unfolding moment carries maximum purpose, power, and clarity. You are not behind. Every pause, every challenge, every moment of stillness has been shaping you. You are being positioned. Each step, each lesson, each release was necessary to prepare you for what lies ahead. What comes next will make sense only because you have prepared. If this message has spoken to your heart, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Stay connected, stay aligned, and continue walking this path with intention. Remember, the next season is not arriving by chance. It is arriving for you, perfectly timed, perfectly guided, and ready to unfold the greatness within. Step forward with faith, clarity, and courage, for your moment is here.